I don't know what you're up to at the moment. You're up to so many bloody things. Well, you don't. What's that thing you do?
What is that thing I do?
I don't know. No.
You mean comedy?
Yeah.
That thing? Oh, I'm not.
Are you still doing that comedy thing?
No.
But I don't even know if you're still doing like live stand-up-y type gig stuff.
Oh God, I am. Yeah.
Oh, you are, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well,
but I mean, very regularly, or
yes. Well, I'll tell you what my life consists of.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be good.
Touring, and I haven't toured since last spring.
Of last year.
Yeah, of last year. Yeah. Right. So I do touring. I do a lot of benefit gigs.
Right.
I do quite a lot of quite a lot of corporate stuff.
Right.
Which I think keeps you on your toes because most of the time they don't know who they're getting. So sometimes when I step on the stage at, the Toilet Awards 2008, there's an audible sigh of despair when they realise it's not Jim Davidson. So I do quite a few of those. I've written 3 novels in the last 4 years, and I do a bit of radio, and I do quite a lot of telly as well.
Right. Because I've seen. I mean, you do what? Have I got news for you? Have you chaired that?
I have. I've chaired it twice now. Yeah,
Is
just
that,
done that.
I've been on the panel thing. I've never chaired. I mean, that looked like it was really hard work.
Well, it is quite hard because you have not only to kind of read the auto cue and let them backwards and forwards, but you've got kind of just a handful of cards with kind of 15 points on each one that all have to be covered straight on here. And if you cover point 15, you've then got to remember to go back to points 1 to 14. And so you're jumping about all over the place. So for someone my age, it's quite hard.
I would find it extremely hard. Yeah. I'm going to have some of the tea you made me. How do you drink that?
You do
that?
Right, yeah.
But it's hot!
I know, that's because it's the thermal flask thing.
It's really efficient. It works.
Enough sugar?
Perfect. Yeah, just spot on. Very good. Thank you so much. So you. I mean, and 3 novels. Did you say 3 novels or 4 novels?
3 novels.
3 novels.
Yeah.
3 novels published.
Yeah. Well, actually, the third one's in the process of. So.
In how many years have you done that?
4 years.
Oh, that's tough.
I know, that's been hard work. And of course, washing people's pants. And
you've got to do that in between.
In between, yeah. Keeping this lane, and then when we get to the next traffic lights, you're going to go right. Yeah. Well, I like it once I start doing it. It's the anticipation that's the worst thing.
Because I think it might be the other way around with me. The anticipation I love.
Oh right, I think
you don't actually like next week I can just sit down all week and write, and then I get there and I go. But I mean, it's quite. I think if you can get, we're very lucky if you can get that balance of, in a sense, the social aspects of work. That, like performing work and telly work is a very social job.
Rather than just sitting in a room for 4 years on your own.
Whenever I'm doing the social stuff, I want to be on my own writing.
Yes.
And whenever I'm on my own writing, I want to talk to a cameraman and say rude things to a producer.
You're one of life's awkward people.
Yeah, never quite happy. But then the other thing is, because there's quite a lot of Americans watch this.
Oh really?
Potentially. I've got quite a big following.
And straight across at the top.
So because the thing that always fascinated me, I remember when I first met you, and I remember it as a gig in the Dulwich Tavern, straight over here.
Yeah.
Is that icy like that? It was a roundabout, but I ignored it.
It was, never mind. There wasn't anything coming.
Look, is that the Kentish Weald we can see? It is.
I'm not sure if it's actually the Weald,
but
it's
some sort of
somewhere scuzzy like Eltham or...
Yes, I suppose it is actually. But when I first met you then, which would be quite a few years ago, 20 years plus years ago.
Was it that long? Do we look old enough to have met 20 years ago?
It is, and I can't believe it, but because I met you. Yeah, no, it is. I'm afraid it is. It's like 22 years ago. How long have you been doing stand-up though?
Since 1988.
20 years, so it can't
have been. No, 86 actually. No, 86.
I think I met you before 88.
Years. Yeah, definitely.
Bloody hell. Was it the Dulwich Tavern? There was something like that, some pub.
Oh, the East Dulwich Tavern.
East Dulwich Tavern. The thing I wanted to quickly mention, which I'm sure you've harped on about till you're sick in the face, is what you did before you were a stand-up comedian.
Oh, right,
it's quite an unusual jump, isn't it? Because it's usually studying philosophy at Oxbridge.
I know, isn't it just?
and then being in Blackadder, Yes. Or rowing. That you, yeah, I mean, because well, I mean, that's why I was immediately felt a sort of vague kinship, because I didn't come out of that background either, and whenever I met someone who didn't, it was always a relief.
I know, absolutely, because you do kind of feel that the BBC particularly is favourably looks upon the sons and daughters of Oxbridge.
Actually, it still does, doesn't it? I think I was
Yes, I think it does as well. No, I think it still does. No, well, I went to Brunel University, which, as I used to say in my set 20 years ago, is the Arthur Mullard of further education. I'm right at these lines.
Which doesn't really, because I remember meeting Arthur Mullard.
Will mean nothing to people under the age of 40. He was like a well-rough.
He was extremely
London actor.
But he smelt lovely. I remember when I met him.
Did he smell nice?
He smelt gorgeous. He was like exquisitely freshly bathed and perfumed.
Well, how lovely.
No, it was really, and he looked like half a bag of chips, but he was gorgeous.
Because you do get a lot of very beautiful people that smell of piss, so it only seems kind of right that Arthur smelt gorgeous. But then he looked like he smelled piss.
Yes, he did. But what did you study then there?
Well, I did a joint social sciences and psychiatric nurse training.
Wow.
So that was 4 years. So I had a real kind of baptism of fire in some ways, because I worked on a general psychiatric unit with the elderly. I worked on the locked ward for people who were sort of violent or had to be contained. Wow. I worked with adolescents, and I worked on the drug unit, and then finished up on another general psychiatry ward. So I had a real sort of breadth of experience. Yeah. And then after I did that and came out of university with my 2-1, I thought I'll do something highfalutin. So I went for a job on Channel 4 as a researcher.
Oh, really? Did you? Wow.
Yeah, for a programme
around that way.
Around this way, yeah, about race. And I just kind of thought to myself, I know they'll want to employ kind of black people, but it would be kind of churlish if they refused to interview me for being white. And they did in fact interview me, and I was interviewed by Trevor Phillips, who is now head of the Commission for Racial Equality.
Right. Of course he is. Yes, of course he is.
Yeah. Wow. Didn't get the job.
No.
So got a staff nurse post at the hospital where I trained, working on a 24-hour walk-in emergency clinic, and I was there for 6 years.
This is specifically psychiatric?
Yeah, psychiatric.
I mean, it's not people with a cut finger coming in there?
No, it was all psychiatric, but that was a broad range from sort of drug and alcohol abuse all the way through to floridly sort of psychotic, what you would call mad people, for the layman.
Just so that they get the true picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Quite deeply mad people. Wow, I guess I just cannot imagine how. But I mean, I suppose this, because it's, you think of, mad people I've known, and I've known a few, like in my kitchen.
Yes.
As in extremely disturbing and dangerous and worrying.
Yes.
Whereas a mad person within an institution that has a support system around it, I guess, is less personally challenging.
Well, that's true, but for us, all the people that we saw were people who'd come off the street. So they were kind of people who weren't really controlled in any way. And the other thing we did was we took what they call Section 136s, which is a police method of picking someone off the street who they think's disturbed and getting them a psychiatric assessment. So we took everyone for the whole of South London.
Wow. I remember you saying that, standing up in front of a load of slightly drunk people at the East Dulwich Tavern. Piece of it.
Yes, in a lot of ways it was, absolutely.
After that, you had the most phenomenal training for it.
I did, really. Especially, I think the best thing it gave me was the ability to look like I wasn't bothered when I really was.
You do that so exquisitely. And I am totally convinced. I mean, I don't want to actually hear that you have ever been bothered.
No,
so
I
want you not to be
I've
bothered.
ever been bothered. Apart from once, I did cry once.
Wow.
A long time ago, I was doing a student gig at lunchtime, and there was a very drunken section who were the kind of rugby club.
Yeah.
Who, can I say rude things?
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no censorship.
Who just absolutely kind of abused me in kind of the most sort of misogynist way, and it finished up with one at the captain, I think, probably because he was asked by the rest to do the worst heckle, shouting at me, "I'm going to shove a table leg up your cunt." And at that point I thought, I don't have to put up with this. So I had a pint of lager in my hand, so I threw it at him, and
including the glass.
No, like I held the glass actually, rather kindly, probably.
I think very kindly.
And he ducked, and it hit this bloke behind who had a very expensive camera held up to his face.
He was probably trying to enjoy the show.
Went all over his camera, ruined it.
Oh, no.
And at that point, I just burst into tears and walked off, very unprofessional.
Wow. Isn't it horrible? Oh, that is so...
Yes, it was grim.
You know, because the worst thing you can have said to you as a man is "puff," you know, which I got all the time, and and also, "Are you meant to be funny?" I was asked that once.
Oh yes, I know. I've had that a few times.
And I thought this was a comedy evening. Those are two heckles I've had that have really stopped me in my tracks.
And then left at this roundabout. I'm afraid we're going to Marks and Spencer's.
I think it's a very good place to go. I don't want to give them too many plugs. They don't sponsor me yet.
No, quite. Well, maybe they will now.
So you got everything. It's only rubber gloves.
Rubber gloves, yeah. For cutting up the bodies.
So you got your carrier bags to shove the parts in.
Exactly.
It's just the cutting up bit. It's a messy process.
It is. It's hard, but someone's got to do it.
I think it's worth. Yes, it's worth reminding any potential hecklers.
Indeed, I think that's important. Yeah, straight up here down this little wiggly road, and then obviously left, then left at the lights, then left at the next lights.
So I don't even know where we are now. What is this?
This is called Beckenham, which is a kind of typical suburban
bit of South London with a lovely old church.
Yeah, with a lovely old church.
I would reckon that predates the urban sprawl of London, doesn't it? That would have been the village church at one time.
Yeah, it would look nice at one time.
Yeah. Well, because my grandma was born in, somewhere that I think of as a sort of, not like a sort of mid-band suburban London, and it was a 4-mile ride into London when she was a kid. You know, it wasn't in London; it was outside London.
It's amazing, isn't it? Oh yeah, left here.
Right. So that's really only, it's like 100 years ago, I suppose, or 100 and probably, a bit more than 100 years ago.
But it's like Dickens used to live in Camden, and he walked through the fields to get into the centre of London. You just can't imagine it now, can you? Left here.
No. Well, and Pepys as well. I used to read Pepys's diary on the day that it was. If it was June
That's very literary of you.
I thought and it was a great relief because he didn't write every day. It isn't like every single, so you could have some days off.
Yeah, and there's not too much boring stuff.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of it. I just didn't know what the hell it was, because it was about naval procurement, which is what he did. So then he'd write a great load of stuff about the barrels of, fish or something that he bought.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
No,
but then there was, there was walked to Islington through the cherry blossom, and then winked at milkmaids at the pub in Islington, which was a little village out. You think Islington, that's right in the middle.
I know. God.
That was a 2-mile walk out of London. I'm toying with at the moment is how much one should use one's family in your work.
In your work.
Yeah, because I haven't really, in public, but I'm kind of getting tempted.
Well, I don't use mine at all.
You don't, so you don't ever talk about the kids or anything to do with that?
No, because I kind of think your family and your house are the sort of last bastion of your private life in a way. And I think there's a real kind of move over the last few years for people to use their family as kind of entertainment. And so, for example, I've never let a camera crew in my house,
right?
Because it would feel kind of like it had been burgled in a way. Right here, I'm afraid we've got to follow the learner.
That's good.
But when they drive into that wall, don't you do it? So I don't use them at all. I never go to kind of events where You know, like it's tempting because you get sent some great things. You know, like I think there was the premiere of some film, and they said bring the kids and we'll take them kind of on a mock-up pirate ship down the river, and the kids would have absolutely loved that. But you know, the prize is going to be 8,000 paparazzi kind of sticking a camera up your skirt. So just.
Well, I mean, it's also they're still quite young. I mean, when they're a bit older, it might not be so.
Yes, it won't be so bad.
I wouldn't have wanted to do. I mean, mine are of an age where effectively they'd appreciate it. They're kind of more aware of what that means, and they both have said, "Dad, next time you go on the red carpet, can we come?" And I went, "Look, you know, I've been on 2 in my life."
Well, I know.
And I was totally ignored by all the people taking pictures. So what are your next big things then? Have you got a tour coming up, or?
What are my next big things? No, I haven't, because I've now sort of officially run out of material. So I now have to write some more before I tour again.
Right.
Because I've done it on telly. I did it on the Hammersmith Apollo thing.
Right. Yes.
A couple of weeks ago. So that's all kind of gone now.
So do you find that though? If you've done that, can you not use that?
You can a bit.
Bits,
you can really, but you do need to do some more homework and write some more. It's a shame really, because I always used to really envy the period kind of before comics were properly on telly, when someone like Tony Hancock did the same stand-up set for 16 years. Lucky bastard.
I don't know whether you should try and break the mould then.
Maybe
you've seen every gag I've ever done before. You
but
can just start out with that. But frankly, I don't care. They're funny. And if you don't laugh, guess what?
Exactly, and it's only ever kind of a handful of people who heard it, you know.
Right. Have you ever had that happen? I mean, or like in reviews, I suppose.
Not for ages. Oh, reviewers do, because reviewers look all the time for kind of negative stuff about you, because a critical review is much more interesting to read than a positive one, and we all like to do a bit of sniping, don't we?
Well, I don't. I think everyone's lovely.
Well, I do as well, but I don't want that to get out, because it might affect my career.
Might ruin your career.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Joe. Very good of you.
Do you want to come in for a proper cup of tea?
I wouldn't mind. A wee as well.
And a wee, yes, do. Feel free. I've got, what is it? Yeah, I've got 20 minutes, so I've got to go and get the kids anyway. Well, that was very painless, and I did my shopping.
And you got your shopping done, which is the idea. That's perfect. That's how I always wanted it to be.